What's up, YouTube? I have not made a video in a while. I've been off living my best life. No, I'm just kidding. I've actually been in Costa Rica. I was there for a few months. I decided to take a hiatus. I'm now in Florida, my Airbnb that I'll be at for a minute. But yeah, I decided to take a break from everything and just like go and explore something I suck at, which is surfing. And I got better. I definitely got better. But I wanted to kind of specifically make this video about Costa Rica because I feel like Costa Rica is one of those destinations that for whatever reason, I guess because the marketing is so good, people have this place on a pedestal, like it is just the ultimate paradise. And I kind of want to shatter that narrative a little bit on purpose because it's really not. And we're going to talk about why. Okay, so let me just preface by saying that I had been to Costa Rica before and I didn't have the best time. I had a bad experience with yoga retreat. By the way, Divinity yoga retreats, let's just put them on the radar. The owner is not a good person. She's terrible. Okay, just let me just put that out there because I can. But also I want to say that the reason I chose to go back to Costa Rica was because I specifically wanted to learn to surf better. This was my fourth surfing trip and I needed warm water. I wanted to go with a destination that had a decent amount of English speakers. I had 5 years of Spanish. However, like, for example, when I was in Panama, like no one spoke English once you get outside of Panama City. And it was kind of isolating. And I didn't want to feel so isolated. So I thought, well, I'll go with a destination where a lot of people speak English, and they really do in Costa Rica. So that was kind of why I went there. But we need to talk about some of the realities of this place. So let's go. First of all, Costa Rica is technically a third world country. Once you get outside of San Jose, the infrastructure is absolute garbage pretty much everywhere. So like, for example, Guanacaste, which is where most of the tourists go, is not that far from San Jose. It really isn't. In fact, when I left, I took a 40-minute flight out because I was like not about to do that drive back, okay? There's no freeways, there's no highways. Like there are in San Jose, but there are not outside of San Jose, okay? So what should be like a 3-hour drive to the coast, maybe 3.5 hours, is actually like 6 to 7 hours. Okay, because you have like one lane each way. And we're talking roads where like you're going through cities. You're gonna have to go over speed bumps. You're gonna have to stop at stop signs. You're gonna have to stop behind semis. You're going to just have to deal with the fact that like there's no other lanes. There's just one lane each way. And if you're going up a hill or you're in the mountains, like good luck trying to pass people. It's a nightmare, okay? And this is the case, like literally on any road outside of the capital, okay? It's just not, it's not built for convenience, okay? And a lot of these roads, even if they are paved, are full of potholes, okay? They're not good roads. They'll damage your car. And a lot of them are dirt roads. So, you know, infrastructure, like it's a pain in the ass. So it's not like it's you get there and all of a sudden it's just so beautiful everywhere you go. No. And I'm really tired of these like TikTok videos about like, oh my God, this is heaven. Why don't you show the ride to that waterfall? Please enlighten the rest of like your audience about like what it looks like behind the camera. Okay. Cause it's not that great. So that's something to keep in mind if you're like, oh, I'm going to leave the US and oh, I'm going to go to Costa Rica and it's so amazing. And the next thing on my list is cheap. Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all, actually. Now, if you get in with the Tico community, they'll show you how to live for less, okay, which I was pretty much only involved with Ticos when I was there. Like, fuck Americans, fuck expats. The expat community there is incredibly pretentious, incredibly rude and condescending, and they treat the tourists. It's kind of like if the expats are seniors in high school, then the tourists are like freshmen and they talk to them like they don't know what the fuck is going on. And they are just so rude. So the expats really do a disservice. Again, they're generally, most of them are in Guanacaste, because Guanacaste is the state that pretty much takes up the entire Pacific Coast region. And that's where they're all going. Like the Canadians, the Californians, that are all headed to Guanacaste to buy up the land, to build these resorts and push out the locals. Some, like one of the worst areas of Guanacaste is an area called Nosara. Nosara, Nosara. It is one of the worst areas. You're not even gonna find locals there. You're just gonna find your fucking expats, because they've pretty much taken over. Another area where it's all expat, there's no real local, is Flamingo. Okay, it's a spot near Brasilito. They've built their own fucking cities, and they're not like Tico places. They are expat places. And because of the expat dominance and the fact that Costa Rica likes to tax you on everything, it is not cheap. Please get this out of your mind. I felt like, well, shit, I might as well have been in Malibu for the last few months, because I was spending so much fucking money. There was nothing cheap about being there. It's ridiculous. And again, when you've got these people from the United States or Canada coming in and buying up the real estate and building these multi-million-dollar homes, and these like woke fucking like oh, I'm so sick and tired of the woke community. These like vegan bars and shit, you know what I mean? Like they're there trying to like create this woke dominance. Oh, it was like so repulsive to me. I'm like, there's nothing Tico about this. This is all North American influence. It's just gross. And I'm sorry, I was offended by it. Like, I want to go to Costa Rica and see Ticos and be with the people, not fucking expats who think that they own the joint. And they do. And they'll tell you that. They'll straight up, in these groups online, they'll straight up tell you, like, we're more important, we're better, we work harder, and we're more entitled. It's incredible to me how obtuse and arrogant they actually are. And it just adds a really bad taste to the experience, okay? For example, like I think Costa Rica is probably the most expensive place in the world to rent a car. All right, got online, made my reservation, paid up front $600 for 1 month for a car, get there. And he's like, no, that doesn't include the insurance. The insurance started at $1,800. So my first month paying for a rental car was $2,600. They abuse you. They take any which way they possibly can to abuse the tourists. And when I was leaving the country, they wouldn't let me on my flight because they were like, oh no, you need the government's permission to take your own cats home. What? I knew I needed your permission to bring them in, but to bring them home? Like, per the United States, I could take a stray dog off the street and bring him home and there'd be no questions asked. But I can't bring my own cats back into the United States without government approval? 2 days stuck in San Jose, had to go to the vet on emergency to get this stamp, $150 fucking stamp, so that I could bring my pets home. Yeah. So they find a way to stick it to you quite a bit, whether it's through your rental car or like, oh, papers, please, like on your way out or whatever. And even with like locals, yeah, some of the people that I knew and gotten involved with, they would tell me stories about like how their own government treats them and sticks them up. It's ridiculous. So yeah, it's not quite the paradise that y'all think it is. My Airbnb was great. It was not expensive. It was on a ranch. I had a little casita. My pets were able to just roam freely. That's why I picked it. I was literally like anywhere from like a 5-minute to a 20-minute drive from 5 different beaches in the area. So I had my choice of all different kinds of beaches, which was great. Like the location I picked was phenomenal, but that particular area, Guanacaste, Tamarindo, it's just flooded with that expat community, and they dominate. It's really foul. When I went there the first time, I was in Nosara and I left after 12 hours. That's how offended I was by the expats and how they treated me. I was like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Went to Samara. Like, yeah, I went there and that's where I surfed all week and hung out with locals instead, but it's still pretty much expat dominated, pretty much anywhere you go in Guanacaste. And, you know, you're not helping the Ticos by going to these resorts. So if you don't give a shit about local culture, you know what I mean? And like the whole modern day colonization thing, if that doesn't matter to you, then like, I guess go and just go to your fucking resort, be in your bubble and say, oh, I went to Costa Rica. But be honest about the fucking hour-and-a-half drive to your destination from the Liberia airport. Be honest about the fact that like it's shit roads. Be honest about the fact that the infrastructure sucks. Be honest about the fact that you're indulging and padding the pocketbooks of expats and not the locals. Like, be honest about this shit, because that's all it is, okay? And it's crap. And the last but not least, these expats, they treat the locals, obviously if they're gonna treat tourists like shit, they're gonna treat the locals like shit. Now, I'm not saying that like every worker is a good worker and shows up on time and does what he's supposed to. I mean, obviously like good help is hard to find, we know this, but they capitalize off of low wages. The average Tico makes between like $800 and $1,200 a month. And so with these multi-million-dollar facilities where people are paying that per night, but the Tico, the worker, is making about $1,000 a month. Yeah, not a fan. Needless to say, like, and it's partly Costa Rica's problem. Like, if Costa Rica is going to let this many foreigners come in and take over their land, then, you know, you kind of get what's coming. It's not like they're pushing back on it. Other countries are a little more regulated in that sense, but I'm not a fan. I've had way too many bad experiences now in Costa Rica to be like, it's paradise. Yeah, fuck that. It's not paradise. And you know, once you're on the beach, it doesn't look any different than, again, being in like Malibu, California. There's nothing exceptional about it. It's disappointing. So I just wanted to put this video out there because I think too many people have Costa Rica on a pedestal, many of which have never been there, or because they've decided with their marketing and the fact that they bought in and decided to get this hotel wherever they were going, that they had to align with the bullshit instead of the truth. You know, it's a joke. So yeah, surfing was good. The surfing was good. I surfed every day pretty much at a beach called Playa Grande, and I got lucky. I got in with some ticos, you know, one in particular, my teacher, who was incredibly good to me in terms of helping me learn to drop into a green wave as opposed to being on a big board and doing white water. So that was wonderful. Playa Grande is known for some very advanced surfing. I'm not advanced. I'd go to the other side. But anyway, that's for another video. Yeah, I just really wanted to share some of the truths about Costa Rica. It is not all that. Oh, and if you really take the time out also, like, to look at the poverty, right? You just don't go from your flight landing to your resort. Like, if you know, tunnel vision at all, then I guess you can, you know, put your blinders on and pretend that some realities don't exist, but it's poor. It's really poor. So again, like, I'm tired of people pretending something is something it's not, and I'm calling bullshit. And yeah, the truth is it's not that great. So anyway, Ticos are great. The locals are great to be around, but Guanacaste is incredibly dominated, but it's dominated incredibly by foreigners, and it's just completely soiled the experience for me, for a lot of people. And I'm just one of the few who's willing to actually say something about it. So anyway, guys, well, I will probably be making more videos now that I've decided to get regrounded and start getting back into work mode. But that was Costa Rica for y'all, and I hope to catch y'all later. Bye.